Hello and welcome to this edition of Big Scott 35, where tonight I'm going to show some cards that I already have, 10 of my most valuable to me cards, and why they hold that value to me. And we're going to discuss a little bit my feelings of what's going on in the hobby right now. I like to do this every once in a while. And let's take a look and see what I got. Hello and welcome back to Big Scott 35 Cards. Like I said in the opener, we're going to do something a little different. As you see, I'm just doing it straight up. Just going to show you 10 cards that have value to me and why I have them, and just tell a little story about them. So this is the best way because I want you to see me and with the card. The first one is going to be Caroline Blankenston, Mon Mothma of the original Star Wars trilogies. And reason why this card holds value to me, I have no idea what the dollar amount is on this card. Try to make it so the glare ain't so bad on it. Is I love Star Wars. And this is more of a representation of my Star Wars cards. Actually going to show you another one here right behind it, which holds a little bit, it's going to have a little other meaning, but for the same reasoning. And my nerdism is Star Wars. I collect Star Wars books, figures, games, cards, and this one here, this actress plays Mon Mothma, and it's a big character. I have a couple other autographs and some other memorabilia from Star Wars, but really like that card. That's when I was thinking of doing this. Actually, seeing some other guys on YouTube's doing similar things made me go, wow, that was one of the cards that popped in my mind. So the next one along the same lines is this one. If you saw my pickups from the National, you saw this card. 1977 Star Wars Stormtroopers Attack, Gem Mint 10. And the reason why I put this one as well as that one is I love Stormtroopers. And I'm going to get deep with you here. That first scene when they come in attacking the rebel base, and they're the first ones that blow through that hole or make the door or whatever they do on the rebel ship. They're the first ones through, and I was like, who are these masked guys and why are they wearing masks? And on top of that, why do they choose to be with the Empire and not the rebels? So I was intrigued by them. I love reading the books on Stormtroopers, the clone troopers, anything about them. So yeah, that's the reason why. And I saw this one at the National this year on the first day. Had to pick it up. I picked up 2 cards that day. The other one's going to be in here too. That's what they meant to me. And the whole thing of, does it give you a tingly feeling? Yep. I said I wasn't going to buy anything on the first day, and I bought those 2 cards. The next one I bought at the Chantilly show last year, card show, which is a pretty big show in Northern Virginia. They have like 3 times a year, I think. This was the fall show. And hopefully I can see Ovechkin this year. He's going to be there. I don't know if I'm going to go or not that day. But Alex Ovechkin, OV, grade 8, whatever you want to call him. I think he is just miraculous, coming from Russia over here to play. Has to have his mama with him to cook for him still to this day, I believe. But I only watch Caps hockey. I do watch quite a bit of their hockey games. I have the Sports Illustrated on the wall from when they won the title. And that's why when I went, one of the cards I pulled out without even thinking for this. And I love autographs, and you're going to see that throughout this whole showing here. The next one, the next 2 actually, have similar stories. Mike Trout, out of 25. I got this at a Kmart out of a pack of Gypsy Queen. What year is this Gypsy Queen? Can't see right off the top. Right off the top there. Let me get my trusty magnifying glass. 216. Gypsy Queen 216. And yeah, I picked this up out of a pack. It was like $1 pack, and pulled this out. And this other one, and they're gonna have similar backstories. And this one I bought a pack from LCS of Topps Finest, and pulled a redemption of this Chris Bryant. Now, a little backstory of him. I'm from Virginia. This is my 6th year in northern Iowa, and the first summer I moved here, I still picked up packs, still collecting the way I was collecting back in the 80s. I really never changed, just picking up packs, hoping to get players. You know, that feeling of popping it open and getting that player that you're looking for. Really not knowing eBay, forums, the whole online thing. Picking up these 2 cards, especially this Chris Bryant, opened my eyes to the new hobby, to me. What cards went to. When I got that Chris Bryant and sent in my form online to get that card, and Topps called me to verify my address and that it was me, opened my eyes. I had never had that. I've had to get cards for them before, but they just sent them to me, and they were saying it's going to be a certified card. The UPS guy that brought it to me, and the little package was like, what could possibly, he was just like wanting to know what was in a package that small that I had a signed certified. It wasn't a letter, so, and I told him it was a baseball card, and he just kind of looked at me. But I just started getting into it, and still trying to make my way here. I moved here by myself. I have no family here. Didn't know anybody except for one coworker. We worked at the same place before. He had family. He has a family. He's moved now, but I just didn't know anybody, and I was getting into cards and back into my gaming, just to have something to do on my days off. I work 12-hour shifts, so days off, I have half the year off. So I trying to find stuff to do. So I got back into cards, and when I got that Chris Bryant, I was like, whoa, this is what it's about. I found YouTube at that time. I found forums. I found everything, and mostly on YouTube. I found at the time was not very good. That's what kind of made me start my channel, because I thought I had something. At the time I was learning, and I was like, what am I watching? And then I found the baseball collector, those back pages, Mike O, Aledco, Topps 85, whatever, blah blah blah, those guys, and started watching them, and man, it just kind of opened my eyes to what can be, and that's what I'm trying to work towards. And next is Wayne Gretzky. Again, I picked up at the same national as the Stormtroopers. Gretzky is the reason why I watch hockey at all. When he came along, and just him and Lemieux, and man, then Eric Lindros after that, it kind of made this mystique of, you know, what hockey is. And I mean, I had to get the hockey games. Me and my buddy on a Sega, I can't remember, I think it was 94. Me and him had to play it, and I was always Gretzky, and I love Gretzky. I started watching the Kings a lot, moved out to California, got to see a Kings game, but he was long gone by then. But it, you know, I still watch it because of Gretzky, and became Caps was my local team. And man, when they got Ovechkin, it kind of had that same feeling. And yeah, so ever since, even I think after Ovechkin leaves, I'll still be a Caps fan because I like other guys on the Caps just as much as I do Ovechkin. The next one is why I'm a Cowboys fan. Is Ed Too Tall Jones. I picked this up at my first National on the Sunday. It was on a discount. He was selling he had a whole table full of rookie autos of football. You name it, Rice's, Montana, Young, Roger Staubach, but Ed Too Tall gravitated to him. 50% off, then 35% off of that. So I know they were overpriced to begin with, but I feel like I got a good price on Sunday on that one. Had to get it, and you see why. It's one of my top 10 favorites to me. Wore his jersey number playing football in high school, so, and even in Little League. So the next one is just a representation. I'm collecting the 71 Topps Thurman Munson. I'm collecting it in a 7. You see, this is a very good to excellent 4. It's just a placeholder until I can upgrade it, and that's what I'm doing with the higher end ones. Is I'm just gonna have to get placeholders because I'm trying to get the set. Once I get the set completed, I'll start trying to upgrade some of those big cards. Next is going to be Johnny Bench, and this one means a lot to me sentimentally, and we're going to get deep. We're going to start talking really why some of these next ones are my favorite cards. Johnny Bench. My dad asked me early on, did I want to play baseball? And I was like, yeah. And he had me, before I could walk, was watching Johnny Bench. Big Red Machine. Now, this is a excellent mint 6. I got this at the first National. One of the cards I was looking for. A little off-centered on the back. Maybe I'll get an upgrade one day. This will be something I'll work on later. It's on my list of things to work on in my PSA registry. But man, these takes me back to my early days as a family watching ball games. Johnny Bench. My parents have been divorced since I was in 4th grade. But man, when you talk baseball, both of them have stories of me and Johnny Bench running around as a little tyke, yelling Johnny Bench, but the bench word didn't come out as clear. It sounded like a cuss word. Female dog. So they used to crack up, and they're friends. And I guess, I don't remember, doing that, but they both have the stories, so it's memorable. But man, sitting down as a family watching the Big Red Machine on Saturday, the game of the week. We didn't have baseball all the time. It was just one game a week, and the Reds were on quite a bit because of the Big Red Machine, if I remember correctly. So I watched Johnny Bench, and then when he made the baseball bunch, and I did a book report on him, all of that together, man, I'll watch baseball bunch, and me and my friends would go out and imitate the stuff that was taught on the baseball bunch. So the next one is my favorite player. Johnny Bench is 1B. This is 1A. Gary Carter, 1975. Rookies. Catchers and outfielders. And this is in a 5. I do have it in a 7, but the 5 for this holds a little bit more to me. This is the card that opened me up to PSA. Had no idea when I got back into it, when I moved back out here. Well, when I moved out to Iowa and I got heavily into it, not just picking up packs and opening them up and just seeing what I got, and kind of realized, my God, these are actually autographs and cards. They're actually memorabilia and cards. I had them, but I didn't know that they were worth anything. But PSA, this is the card that opened me up to PSA being necessary for me to keep climbing in my evolution of cards. I am working on the registry for pretty much everything that's Gary Carterish in it. Right now I'm working on, of course, Topps base and Topps master set for Gary Carter. And then once I get those done, I'll start working on the Johnny Bench ones from that. And but I'm working also on the master set, which is, I think, over 1,400 cards in it for Gary Carter. So that's just something that's going to be forever working on because I'm never going to get all of them. But the hunt is fun. That's what I did at this last national. That's what I do at card shows. So that's it's going to be a tough one, but it's fun to do. The realistic goal is it's not going to happen, but let's try. And but that card brought me to PSA, opened me up, and this past year was a little sad reading everything. It's still to this day of the PSA grading scandals, but it just seems like a necessity in our hobby to have it. So it's hopefully it's fixed. And I have other issues other than Slabgate with PSA, but these next two are together. And this is another sentimental thing. These are Jackie Robinson and Jackie Robinson and Sandy Koufax. And what's this Koufax here? I looked at it before. I think it's his rookie card, I believe, and Jackie Robinson's first Topps card, I believe, 53. But those cards hold sentimental value. Where I found them at my grandparents' house when we were moving them when I was 12 or 11, 12, 13-year-old range, and my dad thought they were lost. He thought his cards were lost. He went away. He joined the military during the Vietnam War instead of being drafted, him and his buddy, so they could stay together. And he came back and they were gone. He thought they were gone. He thought his grandmother threw them out. She always threatened to throw them out. And that's who his grandmother lived with, him and his mother and his sister. And he thought they were gone. And I was moving them, moved some newspapers out of a drawer in his old bedroom that he shared with his sister. My dad didn't have a lot of money. They literally had plastic on windows when he was growing up, and they, things like that meant a lot to him. And I found him. He was overjoyed, and since I found him, he told me I could keep him. And I've since got rid of most of the football that I found because I knew nothing of the football. But the baseball cards, he wanted the Duke Snyder. That was his favorite player. So, and told me to keep the other ones. And, I got Mickey Mantle's, Roger Maris's. Most of them are post-serial cards. Couple of Lucky Dog, dog food cards. But my dad played with them. Him and his buddy would make actually 9-on-9 teams and push them around on the floor, and they would actually, so they're far from mint. If I graded them and got a 1, I would be happy. I will probably send some of these off to be graded eventually. But for right now, I have other ones that, Gary Carter, Johnny Bench. I'm working on other things. So these are things I have in top loaders. I'm never going to sell them, type of deal. This will PC to the grave, I guess, was what they call them. And I mean, it's not really PC. Sandy Koufax, for some reason, when I get him in a modern cards, I get excited. I don't know why. I think because just hearing the stories of how great of a pitcher he is. I recommend anybody that looks for history, watch Brent Burns' 9 innings. Great. I have it on DVD. Got the 10th inning. Waiting for the 11th inning. Enough history for him. But yes, these cards do have value, even with them not being in perfect shape for those two. And that's kind of what I'm leading into for what I want to talk about real quickly. I want to touch on for where I feel some of my feelings for the hobby, and that is the new group coming in investing. This is enough room for everybody, but I just think there's not the best knowledge going out for investing in cards. I started this when I was 3-4 years old, picking up cards with my dad. Something that we could talk about. My mom has been a great influence buying cards for Christmases and birthdays, and just picking them up when she sees them, just something that she thinks I would like. And she knows if it's a sport memorabilia type of thing, you can't go wrong with me, especially if it's autographed. Because if you see my room tour, a lot of it is, I mean, not a lot, but there's things that she's gotten for me, and they're near and dear because they're from my mom. And, you know, for her to understand what I feel about the hobby. But enough said about that. Is back to the investment thing is, yes, I know when I get cards, when I get the Chris Bryant rookie, you know, Trout rookie or Trout anything, yes, I know they have value. I'm not ignorant. I understand the value in them. But to go out and buy 60, 70 rookie cards because you think they're going to be the next LeBron James, you right there are setting up an artificial pricing. You right there are, especially if you went out and bought them separately on eBay, I bet you, unless you bought them all at the same time, every time the price probably went up a little bit, or after you bought a few, because you're setting up an artificial pricing for that card. And people see that. They go in, they research how much a card is. PWCC will tell you on any site what the card went for. That's their whole thing with the shill bidding is making sure that the prices stay up. And with that, I feel like there's going to be a pricing bubble, not a collecting bubble. I think when the card market crashed in the junk wax era, people still collected. Cards didn't go anywhere. That's why you have cards today. It's not like Topps disappeared and went away. I mean, even Upper Deck survived through it. I mean, they're still doing hockey to this day. Panini came back. Score went away, which wasn't a bad thing. Score was good for people like me that didn't have a lot of money to pick up. They're tremendously cheaper than Topps or Upper Deck was the, I picked up a lot of Upper Deck too, but that were the pricey ones. But that is just, to me, bad advice to try to, because when I think of investment, that means you're sitting there buying cards thinking that's going to be how you retire. That's how you're going to pay for your kids' college. I mean, that you'll have a nest egg set up to pass on. Yes, I found a bunch of my dad's cards that if I sold them all, I would get, some money, but I can't retire off of it. It's not feasible. It's just not, man, unless you get that one card that you sell at 10,000. That's, if I have any advice to give you for investing, is buy and flip. Or what Baseball Collector just had on his video was, in which I tell anybody to go watch on investing, is, buy the Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, what he is, and you got a better chance of this card either holding value or going up in value is a lot more than even buying an Acuna today and Acuna next week blowing his knee out and never plays another baseball game again. Not wishing bad things on anybody, but that's a what if. I mean, that's happened to other players. I mean, if my memory serves me correctly, Greg Jeffries got hurt. That's part of his problem. And when he came out, he was, being a Mets fan, he was one of, I think, the top prospect. I mean, there's always somebody that's the next big thing, and they very rarely do anything. That's why I think the Wander Francos, things like that, people too much emphasis in prospecting. It's great when it hit and you got the card, but even then, you want to sell them as soon as it hits. So, like, if you have an Acuna, it would not be a bad thing if he comes out in the playoffs and he's nationally televised and he goes nuts. I would flip it, and I'm selling Acuna cards right now, just knowing that people want Acuna cards. But he's not somebody I collect, and that's not to focus on my collection anymore. It's just buying cards. So I'm hoping I'm staying on topic and not running off. And I'm not saying investment is bad, but do it more with the realization that it's fun, and if it hits, it's great. You hit. It's like, I mean, it's not like winning a lottery, but it's like, betting on a fantasy team. That's the way I kind of put it. And just be careful. Don't think of investing in a baseball card as the same as any other investment for your future, and have fun with it. Just have fun. And like I said, there's no right, well, not like I said, like Eric on those back pages said, there's no right or wrong way of collecting. I've been watching a lot of these investment guys, and the Gary V's out there, and so there's a place for them, and I just hope they realize what's going to happen, when they get into it. Just because a guy's great, a basketball player, or Zion comes out and all the hype is there, and he comes out and even first year, rookie of the year, all that, but 4 or 5 years, he just kind of goes away, or, whatever. Even if he doesn't, there's a LeBron James, and then there's everybody else, and there's a reason why. And that, and they come out with analytics and all this other stuff of why a guy's going to be great. Even you can't even go by it. It's whatever the media hypes, whatever the people out there in your forums, your chat rooms, watch who they're talking about. That's what drives it. It's not who's the best player all the time. So that's my big thing. And what I'm doing right now is, and the other thing I want us to talk about before I go into that, is what I am doing right now is narrowing my perspective, narrowing who I'm going for, having that laser focus on picking up my PCs, working on my PSA registry. And that's what I'm working on. I'm not saying that's the right way or the wrong way, but with Topps having 2025 different cards, it's different from when it was in the 80s and they had the flagship and they had Series 1, Series 2 update, and that was it. It's a different world, and it took me almost 10 years of collecting back into this in the last 4 or 5, as serious I am, to realize I can't get every card. I can't get every big player. I can't, because every big card has 5, 6, 7, 10 different variants. It's impossible. It's just crazy, and I was trying to, and that's my evolution of a collector. Now I'm getting rid of a lot of this and not starting over, but just starting with what I have and going for what I really want. Because why am I opening up a pack of cards and really wanted to get that PSA 10 Gary Carter 1978 card off of eBay? Why I could have took that $100 I spent on cards and bought that, and it, it took a while for me to process that in my mind, not to have to buy $100 of packs of cards, and just work on what I want as a collector. And that's my another bit of advice that you might want to think about that as a collector. As a collector, not as an investor. Investor, you can buy a pack and sell them all back. But for me, as a collector, I wanted to keep them all. And I'm much happier now. I feel much more relieved. I haven't bought a box. Now, saying if I haven't bought a pack, you saw me open up packs on one of my videos. I'll still get a sub box. It's a good way to get them. I'm thinking about cutting out another one. I already cut out one. Thinking about cutting out another one. Because there's certain packs that I'm looking for, and if I don't get them, don't tell me it's high end and then send me 4 packs of Top Series 1. It just doesn't work just because it's a hobby pack. That doesn't work for me. So with that being said, please leave me a comment, like, dislike, subscribe, hit the bell, do all of that stuff. Till next time, get to ripping, and see ya!